Professor, your ascension to the office of the Executive Secretary comes very unexpectedly and suddenly, especially to the people in Uganda, where you had started a lot of initiatives. Some of them are at infancy, others midway, others at maturity. How do you manage your transition in such a way that all these initiatives you had started will not be disrupted?
Thank you, Brother Emmanuel. We want to thank God for the privilege of service. When we accepted the call of service, we came in with "I will go wherever He sends me." And that commitment and vow restricts us into having our own way, restricts our choices and preferences. And it is the same even during this time, that coming to the ECD is a call to service, but one that has come as a surprise, one that has come so abruptly, and it is a higher level of ministry and influence, but one that has displaced, I should say,
Yes.
The ministry in Uganda. I observe and understand that for Uganda, we had just started. The train is on the rail at the moment. Yeah. It has started to gain speed, but at a time when we needed to try to do serious mission business, now we find ourselves now tilted towards another direction. So it's a bitter, sweet experience of sorts, and even with our people, because we least expected this to happen at such a time. Even when I came, I thought that I still had more time and more work to do in Uganda now than elsewhere. But as I started, when the call comes, we have to obey.
Thank you very much. Among the initiatives that were midway at the time of your calling, the discussions that were ongoing about the reorganization of Uganda Union Mission. What is your comment about the way forward?
We halted the realignment of the union into two unions because of the imminent coming of the 62nd General Conference session. And we said, let us go to the session in St. Louis and come back and embark upon it. And this now is something that we are going to leave maybe to the coming administration. But it's something that is in the offing. It's something that has come, something unstoppable. But like we say, what we have to do it then. But even then, we believe that the leaders that are coming will be able to do something towards this initiative.
Okay. Professor Maka, your profile reveals that you went into the ministry very early in your life. And it is evident you are very brilliant. And at the age you are getting into ministry is the age where most people, according to the world standards, they are seeking success in the world, the way the world understands it. But you decided to go into the ministry that early. What was the motivation, and how would you inspire younger people who could be having potentials, but they are hesitant?
True, I went into ministry in my early 20s. And at a time when I think the horizon was clear for me. At first I wanted to go and become a barrister, a lawyer of sorts, but there has been from since my high school that beacon, that word in my face, to an extent that I was called pastor even before I knew what pastor meant. In my high school, during the times of leadership among the students, I had been designated as a pastor. And so it is some title, it's some calling that has followed me all the way through. And even when I was able to finally say, let me get into ministry, many people were thinking I was destined for a wrong line. I remember there are some elders who came and told me that I am not being kind to my parents, yes, because they are aging and they are expecting so much from me. Joining the ministry would not be good to them in their old age and the like. But I was firm. I was clear, because since those early days, I think my call had been set and made clear. My word to many of my young people, the call to ministry is a high calling.
Yes.
It's something that I don't regret to have made. In fact, I do not know where I would be now if I hadn't made this decision to come and serve the Lord. It's the blessing that I feel those that are inclined to feel it and hear it from the Lord should be able to answer and hearken in the positive, because this is the highest calling and the best service, because it's in God, with God, and near to God. Other than any other, I think it is something we should encourage young people to embrace. It is safe, it is clear, and it is blessed.
Prof, in a dinner hosted to appreciate God for the calling that you've just received, you mentioned and actually emphasized the need to develop talents and mentor more people. What is your comment in terms of what should be done so that we have more people from the territory where you are going to be presiding over to be prepared for tasks even at the world level of the Seventh-day Adventist Church?
True. It is said that there are few things that happen by themselves. Things are caused to happen. They are made to happen. And proper planning is very critical in leadership for now and even for the generations to come. And one of the critical areas that the church needs to look into is the area of human resource capacity building. We think that this is something that should follow itself without being followed strategically, but I want to believe that if there is something that we need to focus on, is to build leaders that are going to succeed us, is to train them during our time and give them the mantle. And this is about the young people. And so it's very important that when we see talent, let us pick it. It's like what the Bible gives us in the guise of Joseph. Pharaoh identified Joseph so young, out a foreigner in prison, but he knew that this was the young man that could be able to take his country into the future. And as leaders, I think the most important thing we can ever do for this church is to identify talent, to identify young people, encourage them, mentor them, build up, because you are not successful until what you have built can be able to be kept and brought into the future. And this is the legacy that the Bible gives us. When Moses gets out of the scene, he gives us Joshua. The Bible also gives us that when Christ is leaving, he gives us the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
And Paul also mentored the others that were to follow. And so it is incumbent upon us, very critical indeed, that in leadership we need to see who should follow. Should anything happen upon me now, I should be looking around who can be able to take over, who can be able to take the dream forward. And this is very important, that we really need to train young people, to encourage young people, to build capacity for now and even for tomorrow.
Okay, thank you so much, Prof. You're just at the media suite for Adventist World Radio. And Prof, you are the host of Adventist World Radio Africa region in Uganda. How do you feel about hosting the office which is coordinating works all over Africa?
I have a word of appreciation to extend to two levels of our church, and that is first the ECD for allowing the country, the Union of Uganda, to be the host. It could have been taken to the division directly or elsewhere, but I want to appreciate the ECD for having accommodated that. But most importantly, I want to thank the Adventist World Radio headquarters for coordinating with us. From the very beginning, Dr. Ray was clear on what he wanted for ECD, what he wanted for Africa. And I want to thank God that for the entire Africa, we are the host. It's a privilege and a very big advantage for us. And we pray that we'll continue to harness that cordial working relationship so that we take the Adventist World Radio to be a household word in all our quarters in the four ends of our territory.
Thank you so much, Professor Maka. You are very supportive to the works of Adventist World Radio. Within the territory where you've been in charge, Uganda Union Mission, recently you just commissioned the establishment of 2 more radio stations. And in the backdrop of that, 3 others were established in 3 cities, in addition to the radios that have been in Uganda previously, bringing the total number of radio stations to almost 10 by the end of this year when these projects are complete. What has been the inspiration making you to support radio ministry so much?
Mission in this era should not be gotten into by guessing. Statistics do show evidently that radio as a medium of communication for gospel explosion and mission is one that is going to be very critical. Is critical now, is going to be for some time. Yes, we have the television, we have social media, we have all others, but the radio beats them all in reaching to the corners, especially the unentered area, in terms of taking the gospel, but also in nurturing those that we have been able to fish out. And so it has been my thinking and my agenda clear that we need to make the Adventist World Radio reach every corner of our territory with the message. And I want to thank your office, and I want to thank the Adventist World Radio headquarters for heeding our call, our invitation, so that we can build the infrastructure where we can be able to reach as many people as possible. When you go to many of our rural areas, those people can never be reached by anything else other than the radio. And we are very grateful that now 2 centers are coming up. And these centers are in very remote and unentered areas. Yes. These 2 centers are very critical, and I want to thank you and your leaders at the headquarters for having accepted to bring the message to the north, because these 2 new radios are in areas that could never ever be reached if it were not for the Adventist World Radio. And when we are able to establish them, we are sure that they will be able to do mission. The only challenge we have is sustainability as far as their operations are concerned. I want to thank the leadership of AWR for the initiative to push us, at least for the start, to kickstart us. And I pray that this can be extended to these 2 stations so that we can be able to have them start maybe for the first 2 years as we phase them and make them self-sustaining, as we build capacity and also human resource and finances, so that we can be able to have them roll by themselves by the end of the quinquennium.
Okay,
so we want to thank you.
What you mean is you need some operational support for the first 2-3 years?
Exactly. If
okay.
I can be pushed for the first 2-3 years as we phase out, train capacity and see that they are ongoing, and then we can be able to let them move as we supervise and offer support like to the rest of the other radios.
Okay, we are coming very close to the conclusion of our interview. But before we conclude, still on Adventist World Radio, thank you so much for the comments you've been making regarding Adventist World Radio in Uganda. However, now your role is transitioning you into being in charge of a territory as the overseer of implementation, execution of mission. What would you like to see Adventist World Radio now doing in terms of the ECD territory, not only Uganda?
What Uganda has done has been a pilot that we should be able to export to the rest of the territory. I would like to see the Adventist World Radio integrate in the entire ECD in those remote areas, because I've discovered the secret of the Adventist World Radio ministry and how we can be able to partner together in taking the mission forth to those ends. And so it is going to be an extension of what work we've been doing in Uganda. We are going to extend it because we have areas that we cannot send real people to get into with mission, but we can send the voice in order to reach those areas. So this just going to be an extension, and I will be traveling your office,
yes,
and the headquarters as well, to see that we do it in ECD, but also in the rest of Africa and beyond.
I want you to say one more word for Dr. Dwayne McKee, the president of Adventist World Radio, who has been very generous in supporting projects in Uganda. You have so many radio stations, you are refurbishing many of the radio stations, and he has been very sympathetic of all the requests you've been sending to him. What do you say to Dr. Dwayne McKee?
Dr. Dwayne, I just want to say thank you. Through the regional office, we have extended our calls to you. We have always troubled you, and I've reached you in person. And I just want to say thank you as I further seek for your further support and collaboration, so that together we can make the Adventist World Radio a catch name, a household name in Africa, for the good of his name. Thank you.
Professor, before you give the final shots, there are some messages that are coming in from Uganda right now. We have Professor Samson Rwahwire. He sends a congratulatory message.
Thank you
for
Samson,
your election into the office of the Executive Secretary. We have another message from Emaya, Seventh-day Adventist Church, wishing you well in your new assignment. We have messages coming in from Kampala Central Church of Seventh-day Adventists, congratulating you. We have a congratulatory message from Elder Apollo Mubiru, the Communication Director of North Buganda Field. We have Hope Channel Uganda sending a special congratulatory message to you for being appointed as the new Executive Secretary for the East Central Africa Division of Seventh-day Adventists.
Okay. Thank you. We want to appreciate and receive warmly those messages. And yes, we might have taken another step away from Uganda, but we want to tell you that Uganda is within my reach. We will offer the support necessary, and we request you also to up the ministry for the Lord. The Lord bless you, and let us work together. We support one another as we get into this mission that the Lord has called us to champion during these end times. Thank you, and God bless you.
And lastly, Professor Maka, to Uganda Union of Seventh-day Adventists, the country as a whole, the members of the Seventh-day Adventist Church, this is a place where you've grown as a leader. What do you want to say to them, even as you transition into a global responsibility in the church?
Just want to say thank you for supporting me. Thank you for grooming me, and thank you for all the cooperation you've accorded me. Yes, I go at a time when many of you think I shouldn't be going. But it's better also to go when you are still needed, other than being pushed when people are tired of you. One thing I want to tell you, that I still remain Ugandan. I will continue to offer support where necessary, and we will advocate for you as we serve equitably the entire region for His glory.